What's going on? How you doing? My name is David the Crook, and today I have a video for you on how to mix your drums using Wave plugins. But before we get into the video, I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like. I have a beat here. I called it Dream Life. This beat is on my website. If you like to download the beat for free, go for it, rap on it, and send it to me. I'd love to hear it. But I'm gonna play the beat. I'm gonna take off all the plugins off the kick, and then we'll start from scratch because I like building my chains from scratch. Like I said, I took off all the plugins, and this is how the drums sound now. As you could tell, the drums, they just pretty much lost life. They're just like bleh, like they're dead, honestly. One of the first things I like doing when mixing my drums is I like grabbing all my drums, for example, all of these, and I bust them to one fader. So for example, all my drums are going into this one bus here. And the reason I like doing that is because if, for example, if I want to tweak the snare specifically, I could do that without having to do it to all the drums. So for example, if I want to go here and I'm like, oh, I'm trying to cut all of the low end out the snare, for example, I could do that without having to do it on here and having to cut everything. So that's one of the reasons why I like busting everything, just because you have a little bit more freedom. But other than that, the first plugin we're going to be using is the SSL E-channel strip plugin. And the reason I like using this one is because I like using this for EQing, just because of the EQ curve slope that this plugin has. I like how it sounds on drums. But other than that, I like cutting out 20 hertz because we don't really need those 20 hertz, especially because it's on the kick. If it was on the 808, it would be like a lot different, but that's a whole different thing. What I like using this one is just to boost certain frequencies. For example, like on the snare and the hi-hats, open hat, etc. I like turning the analog on. I don't really know if it makes that much of a difference, but I like boosting around 16K. The first thing I like doing is just to boost up more of that, to add like a bit of crispiness onto the snare, as well as boost the hi-hats. With this EQing, as you can tell, the hi-hats came out a bit more. The snare, that crispiness, that snap on the snare, I guess you could say, came out a bit more. So that's cool. I like how it's sounding so far. Other than that, what I'm going to do next is use a second plugin. And that second plugin I'm going to be using is Pultec EQ by Waves. And the reason I like using this one is just because with this plugin, I like using it to focus on the low end. For example, the kick. I like boosting 100 hertz. I don't know why. There's something about boosting 100 hertz on the kicks that just make it punch a lot louder. And then I'm going to be boosting a little bit more of the high end. So I'm going to boost the kick at 100 hertz. That sounds good like that. I ended up boosting 10K, about 5 dBs, and then 100 hertz, 4.6. And then from here, what I like doing is I'm not really worried about how much EQ I'm adding, just because I am going to be adding a compressor. Only compressor I'm going to be adding onto my drums is the SSL compressor. The reason I like using these Wave plugins is because honestly, you could find them like stupid cheap. Like a lot of these plugins you could find for 29 bucks, which is like stupid cheap. And down below in the description, I have a discount code for 10% off. So if it's 29 bucks, you get it for 26 bucks, which is like stupid cheap because you have a plugin forever that emulates a $1,000 hardware for like 20 bucks. Stupid cheap. Anyways, going back to this compressor works amazing. I like using a fast release, and then I like using a very slow attack. And the reason I like using these settings is because with the slow attack, you're allowing your kick to punch through, and once that punch comes in, then the compressor hits. But by then you already got that, that boom, that, I don't, what do you call it, like that. You already got that kick in. And then I like using a fast release is because once it does compress, I want it to release before the next kick comes in. That way it adds like some dynamics. It adds like some sort of like pumping effect. And then I use a 4 ratio. And then what I like doing is I like going for like a 4, anywhere in between here. And that's pretty much it. I'm not really worried about how much compression it's doing. I'm just trying to balance everything out. Make sure everything is glued together. Because if you don't really add a compressor to it, it feels like everything's like kind of just in its own space, in its own like world. When you glue the drums together with the compressor, it just brings everything together, brings out the life of the drums. And then from here, what I like doing is, this is like a trick. It's not really a trick I like doing, but I like adding some sort of like distortion, some sort of like grittiness to the drums, just to give it more of a punch, more harmonics onto the drums itself. So I like using Little Radiator. This is like the preamp I love using on everything, like vocals, drums. If I could use this, I'm gonna use it. If you don't have this plugin, you could use like Saturation Knob by Softtubes. This is a free plugin. Just look up Softtube Saturation Knob. If not, you could just use some sort of distortion. Every DAW comes with its own distortion, or I mean, there's plenty of just different distortions. But I'm gonna use this one, and I'm just gonna slowly bust it onto the drums. That way, it just adds like a fullness to the drums. And that's pretty much it. That's how you mix your drums, just using 3 wave plugins. If you want me to show you how to mix drums just using nothing but stock Logic Pro X plugins, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll do that for you. I want to remind you to subscribe and drop a like. And like I said, this beat will be down below in the description, so you could check out the full beat. If you want to download it, rap to it, it'll be on my website, free download. Now, if you want me to mix and master your beat or your song, feel free to hit me up on my Instagram or email me down below. Everything will be in the description. I hope to see you in the next video. My name is David the Crook. Peace.